my friend.
Uh,
All right, here we go. In three, two, one. Hello, and welcome to episode 243 of the wrasslecast. I'm your host, Don Delarente, and I'm joined by the Rawcast broadcast journalist himself, Mr. Magnum Prime. What's going on, Greg?
what day is it? What time is it? I don't know. It's all a blur at this point. This baby's killing me. No, it's good to be back, y'all.
Good to have you back. Good to have you back. Glad to hear some adventures of the little one. And, every day is a new adventure in the world of parenting.
New adventure, new sound that he's discovered, new objects appearing in diapers, all that type of stuff.
oh man,
Remember, it's a sprint, not a marathon.
True. Nipsey was right. True.
And the other voice you hear on the mic tonight is joining us from Baltimore, none other than Mo_Reese. What's going on, Mo Reese?
ain't nothing going on, man. Just watching the political version of the Diva search for the Democratic Party.
You got any potential talents? Any the people who they always pass over, like the girl who plays Lucha Underground, Evilise, and anybody like that in the field?
Now, it's still early. It's a bunch of I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and Biden up there looking like I'm just waiting for somebody but people just calling him out on everything. So it's still kind of early. So I'm just gonna wait and see. But it's just kind of interesting to see what's playing out.
Right, right. Political season is already started, and not just in the world of real politics, but also in the politics of professional wrestling. As the big news that dropped, Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff were both named WWE executive directors, and they will take over running WWE TV. Heyman is set to become executive director of Monday Night Raw, while Bischoff will fill the same role for SmackDown. Both men will report directly to Vince McMahon, and at this time, these are executive roles, and the two men are not expected to be introduced on TV as a part of the Authority storyline. So we'll turn it over to Mr. Magnum Prime, since we haven't had a chance to hear any of your commentary with color for a little while here on the podcast. What are your thoughts of Heyman and Bischoff
Well,
running WWE?
I'll say this: I, I have a fondness for Heyman. He was definitely a visionary back in the day. I mean, between the two guys, I I would give more of a chance to him. But I mean, when you're facing new competition on the wrestling landscape, you really should go with someone who's a bit younger, who who's who has their pulse, who has their finger on the pulse of really what's going on with the wrestling world. And I don't know if Heyman really does. And Bischoff, I mean, Bischoff been making money on TV. You know what I'm saying? If you want a guy to come in, help you run your promotion as a television show, then yeah, I can understand that. But um, actually providing wrestling entertainment to fans, I'm not sold on this.
Mo_Reach, your thoughts, good sir?
It was kind of a shock when the Sports Illustrated, article came dropping, and I was just like, "Is this a kind of rib or something like that?" Then started reading the WWE. They released a statement on it saying, we they in these roles. I'm like, okay, well, we've seen this happen. What, back in 2005 ish, when they had the general manager roles on SmackDown and Raw. They was Heyman was trying to resurrect ECW. Then they had the whole ECW invading Raw storyline and everything that was going on there. I mean, if it's backstage, they can, shape the show into what it needs to be going forward. I mean, we see Vince is going back to his reliables as they saw it. He brought back Bruce Pritchard early in the year. Dana Warriors, I guess she's still on the creative side. Now you bring back Bischoff, who hasn't been around since he got dumped in the trash can, dumped in the trash compactor or whatever on the episode of Raw, and Heyman. He's just been around as the advocate for Brock Lesnar. So if it's backstage, then yeah, and I agree with Greg. They do need some younger blood in there who can give a fresh perspective on it. But I think Vince is just doing it because he knows what the veteran aspects of these two gentlemen have in the business. And you know, if you have an AEW on the come up, he has to, play these cards so that he can, keep his upper hand, so to speak.
I hope a couple of things happen. I hope less quote unquote writers will be involved now that you have two, or at least one, pure wrestling mind. And like Greg said, a guy who knows TV and how to write stories. Two, I hope they can maybe set up the scene where they since we've got this new edict with the commercials break, where you're not going to have these long matches that are going to be cut up in between by commercials. There's going to be no commercials during any action. So that's the reason why you have all these elimination matches and 2 out of 3 matches coming up in the review, so you can get the commercial breaks in. Maybe, just maybe, they might be getting ready to condition people to go back to a style of wrestling where you don't see as much on your TV per se, and it all builds towards the pay-per-view again. Maybe they feel like AEW is going to come out guns blazing with everything they got on their TV show for the first 6 months. So how about while they're hot-shotting it, how about we maybe do a little bit less on TV and get people more interested into the pay-per-views? Because what's going to happen here on TV is the longest match you're going to see is going to be like 8 minutes, 9 minutes. It's not going to be these 2 and 3 segment matches anymore, unless it's a 2 out of 3 falls or an elimination match or some type of gauntlet match or something to that effect, where they can stop after every pinfall and not have to break this thing of Vince doesn't want the action broken up by commercials. So there's a lot of moving parts happening with the WWE. They've had some really low numbers in attendance on TV.
Horrible numbers.
and we're in July now, which means that in less than 3 months, AEW will be on the horizon. So,
But here's the question I have. Well, two actually. What happens with Lesnar since Heyman has this new role? Is he still going to be the advocate?
I don't think that will change his role. I think he'll still on camera. He'll still be the guy, because I mean, it ain't like Brock showing up every week and Paul's going to have to dedicate, some of his time, whatever he's going to be doing to the show, to make sure Brock is all right. He'll have more than enough ample time to know when Brock's coming to get those things in. So I don't think that's going to mess with anything.
All right, and then they said that Bischoff is going to be working with the Fox executives as well. So are they banking on his his early success working with TNT, and then hoping that parlays into by them moving to Fox, moving to broadcast television? Is that going to make a big splash for them in that aspect?
It can't hurt. Again, Eric Bischoff is a TV guy. He's a reality kind of guy. If you ever listen to his podcast, he's always talking about stories, and they need arcs, and and how you have to go from step to step to step, and so that's his deal. And there's gonna probably, if he can, he's gonna try to probably get away with maybe grittying up SmackDown a little bit.
Mm.
Maybe not, maybe not have it be quite the same as Raw. I think that's probably his biggest goal, is to just, okay, this is everything they do on Raw. He's probably got a big yellow piece of paper right now that says that this looks like this. They did, and then he's probably got another piece of paper that says, okay, what can we do that's different than Raw to try to make this true brand split. But now, with the wild card and everything, I don't know how much they can kind of keep that true flavor. But I think that's going to be his first attempt, is to try to maybe, if they can shoot it a little different, or if they can just present it in a different form, to just give it its own flavor, where it's not just a Raw recap show, or hey, it's the same matches we got from Raw with just different people in them, and the ropes are different.
Right. Right. Seems like Conrad Thompson getting people jobs, outside the podcast game.
he, he should Suge Knight at a podcast game, man. I don't know what he does, but everybody that he
It's
gets,
like every time you turn around, they back in the fold some way,
the,
somehow.
the only person who seems to have a little repellent on him is Tony Schiavone. He
And
hadn't
he,
quite
but he,
got in
but
yet.
he, but he's still, doing baseball and his other things. I don't know if somebody come and offer him a position, he'll jump shit too.
Yeah, so very interesting to see what Heyman and Bischoff will bring to these new roles. I guess starting on this week's TV when they come back from Japan, we'll start seeing their influence, I guess. Or maybe they will wait till they get through this Extreme Rules pay-per-view to give them a fresh set of stories to work on towards SummerSlam. But they had to do something, and so this is the first stab at it, and we will see where it goes from here. Now we will turn our focus to the event that was Stomping Grounds this past Sunday. Thank you to everybody who joined us for the hashtag Stomp the Yardcast live tweet. It was a lot of fun as always. Thank you for everybody who came out, shared their commentary with color. On the pre-show, Tony Nese defended his Cruiserweight Championship in a triple threat against Drew Gulak and Akira Tozawa. Drew Gulak and Tony Nese trade strikes. We get a German suplex by Tony Nese to Drew Gulak into the turnbuckles. Tozawa takes out Tony Nese, and Gulak then hits the Argentine cutter on Tozawa for the win, and Drew Gulak is your new Cruiserweight champion. It's been a pretty good run for Drew Gulak. He had a couple of great matches with Kushida over on NXT. He's had a really strong run on 205 Live, and now he gets the championship. So I'm glad to see him be presented in a little bit more serious manner, even though the no-fly zone Drew Gulak is amazing.
That character was great, but the switch that he underwent, and the character change kind of drew me in back into it. He's just great. It's just one of those. He's one of those wrestlers who can take he could take a gimmick and make it work on his own. Because we had the PowerPoints when he first was signed. I was like, okay, I'm into it. This is great. And then he just started evolving. He started being the sidekick to Enzo. He made that work. Now he's transformed into this new gimmick he's doing now. And I was surprised that they dropped the title change happened here, but it was a great match overall.
It was a damn good match. In some people's estimation, the best match on the whole card.
I was like, they just need to start letting them, get a chance to shine on the main show. It's like as soon as we saw them, I was like, okay, this might steal the spotlight, and exactly what it did.
That might be another reason why Bischoff got SmackDown, is because 205 Live is tied into that, and he may be able to try to work some magic with those smaller guys onto that SmackDown show if he can. I think they would work better on SmackDown than they would on Raw anyway. Raw just doesn't seem like it's ever been a cruiserweight, light heavyweight type of show.
It
Yeah,
wasn't. It
never.
was just like it wasn't. It's just like when they featured them on Raw, and it was just like the fans weren't really interested in it, and it was just like they should have just kept that like feature them on SmackDown, so to speak, and then let or I think somebody was saying take 205 Live before SmackDown. Probably would have been a good deal for that one, but it's just it's like now they got the chance they can really get the pieces moving. They can really start making some more noise.
In our next matchup, Becky Lynch, she defended her Raw Women's Championship against Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans looks for the slingshot elbow drop, but she gets countered, and they trade as Lacey Evans hits a slice of bread variation and a big boot for a 2 count. Lacey goes to the ropes. She gets pulled off of the ropes, and then she gets locked into the disarmor, and Becky Lynch retains the Raw Women's Championship. This match was a little rough. The crowd was really not into it. A little botchy on Lacey's behalf. And, Becky Lynch made the most of what she was working with.
Yeah, she did. And you saw when the botches was happening. I was like, oh no! I was like Lacey missing her cues and everything, and it kind of threw Becky off a little bit too.
G Money, since the departure of Ronda Rousey, have you felt the steam kind of cooling for Becky Lynch? She doesn't, the promos aren't quite the same. The matches definitely have been lacking, for a better word. What can she kind of do to kind of build her rep back up that she once had, towards the end of last year, beginning of 2019?
That's a challenge, man. There's just some people who are great champions, and then there are some people who are great challengers. Dusty Rhodes was a great challenger. Ric Flair was a great champion. And sometimes I'll listen to Becky, do her promos, and I just get kind of bored. And she really doesn't have a a foil out there that she's working with right now that makes me care about what's going on. I just don't. I think it was a bad pairing. I know you would like to take the opportunity to where you could have someone who's an experienced champion get the rub on some new talent who you think is gonna be the next big thing, but it's not working here. It is not working, and I mean, I don't know outside of Ronda what would create some excitement right now because pretty much everybody else who's around. I mean, we've already seen her mix it up with. So um, I don't know.
We get one of those dope Mustafa Ali video packages where he's kind of like a vigilante or something, where he's and these people are in these situations and he's kind of like looking over them or something. So we'll see where that goes. Caleb Braxton is at Corbin's locker room. Paul Heyman exits and he denies that he's the special referee, but he teases that Brock might be here. Corbin arrives and he says that he has chosen his referee for tonight. He says he doesn't need any help. He just needs a fair shot and he will beat Seth Rollins tonight. Big E and Xavier Woods, they took on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It breaks down. Woods and Sami fight on the apron. We get the suicide spear by Big E, and that takes out Sami. Xavier Woods then heads up top, but Kevin Owens runs into the ropes, which ends up crotching Xavier Woods. Owens hits a stunner, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn get the win over Big E and Xavier Woods. This was a fun tag team match. It was good to see the stunner win a match, not be a transition move. I know Stone Cold tipped his beer to
Yep.
that. And these four guys, they killed it. This was a fun match. The crowd was into it. I like the way that Xavier Woods was out there getting his Ricky Morton on, as he got beat up for about 7 straight minutes before he even got like one punch in.
Oh man, they was killing. He took him to the woodshed.
And then Big E came in, made the hot tag, and then we kind of got going from there. Um, I really like the structure. It's a different structure than they usually have for tag team matches in WWE. So this match gets 2 thumbs up for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good match. I was surprised that um, Sammy and Kevin got the win, but we gotta advance the storyline somehow.
Well, they need a whole bunch of wins. I mean, think about that night in Montreal when they both came back and how they were like the 2 biggest stars in WWE. I mean, I know the location has a lot to do with it,
Right.
but I mean, look how far and how fast they've fallen. Poor Kevin Owens just got his whole WrestleMania everything just taken away from him for Kofi Kingston, and he just hasn't recovered from that. Sami Zayn is doing fantastic heel stuff and trying to get this critics of the critics thing over, but they're not giving him any wins to make him
Nope.
stand out. So like I told I'm in a group text with the ladies from the Forever Young cast, and I basically boiled it down to the biggest thing that is plaguing WWE, and the reason why guys like The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Stone Cold are still the draws and people still pop and people still tune in for those people is this booking style that they're using makes it hard for you to invest in anybody.
Right.
Because as soon as you start to invest in somebody, they send them on a stupid storyline, or they start beating them, or they don't have them on TV at all, anything that gets you to care once you've actually tried to get behind somebody. So you don't have any personal attachment to anybody like you do Stone Cold or Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels or Razor Ramon or Diesel, because you actually got to see those people kind of persevere and you could attach yourself to them. And they got on winning streaks, and they went from being a mid card guy to being the IC champion, from being a good IC champion to being able to challenge for the world championship, being the world champion, and then losing and having to go back through that all again.
And the thing was, it wasn't even like um, the whole thing. It wasn't even the whole thing about they won it on that first deal. It was like they lost and they had to go back and regroup and go at it again. And then like somebody had posted a clip of I think it was Steve Austin and Bret Hart, that little promo they had, and I'm just like, was just like something that was just real great to watch um, back in the '90s and everything. And it was just like the booking was just totally different. It was just like it's like you built. That's like the story was built. It's like you had to overcome obstacles and things like that. I say it doesn't happen like that today. It's like I told you when I was on the last time, when I saw Kevin Owens at the SmackDown show, he was not into that face run. And it was like he was just not into it. I could just read it on his face. And I was just like, I'm like, he's gonna turn heel very soon. And that's what happened. But it's just like they're not giving them the leeway to do what they can do. Like if you saw this was NXT, this was like we've been talking a whole different playing field and everything. It's like main roster is just like, okay, we have to cater to casual fans. We have
Sponsors
and things like that. And
Yeah,
it's like, it's like come on, right. It's like, come on, man. It's like you have a product you have to put out here and you wonder why you're having low numbers, low viewerships, low attendance at your shows. This is the problem. You're not giving people something to invest in. And you wonder why people is talking about other companies and everything and giving them eyes and anticipating what they about to bring to the table.
Yeah, it's a situation that, I mean, ever since they've gone to that 50-50 booking, it's been an issue. And I mean, they've been trying to massage it and hide it and give all these different reasons why 50-50 booking works. But, like I said a few podcasts ago, it's America, man. We want to get behind people who win. We don't get behind people who play 500 ball. We get behind people
Right.
who, go undefeated or, you know, lose very few games. That's the type of stuff we like. And it needs to be represented and especially something that's a sport like wrestling purports itself to be at certain times when it's necessary. So yeah, they need to get back to, having guys win and win and win and win and win. And again, that's where having more squash matches and more promos would do far more than putting out these high level matches for 6 or 7 minutes every week. Back to the pay-per-view. Alexa manipulates Nikki backstage ahead of tonight's title match. Then we have our United States Championship match where Samoa Joe is defending his title against Ricochet. Ricochet hops over the ropes and he uses it to stun Joe. Ricochet heads up top and he rolls through on the 630. Then he hits a code breaker. He heads back up top. Ricochet hits the 630 and he gets the 1-2-3 as Ricochet is your new United States champion. Such an upset. Did not see that coming, at least in the first run. I thought maybe we would get like you said, Mo, a series of matches, see Ricochet come up short, but give Samoa Joe all he can handle, enough where a rematch is warranted. But nope, put the belt on Ricochet first time he gets a singles title match.
And that was a shocker. Like, and I'm sitting thinking like, okay, it's gonna be a great match, but Samoa Joe's gonna catch him, and that's gonna be the end. And they said it was your second title change the night, and I was like, what's going on?
Greg, do you see Ricochet as the new Rey Mysterio, the one small guy who's going to be allowed to mix it up with the heavyweights?
I felt like that question was coming, but hey, he's bigger. He's bigger than Ray, which I always think would help him out. But the dude, I mean, he's so talented, and I mean, I really wasn't surprised by the outcome because I mean, you hear different things about Joe, or at least way people feel about Joe. Maybe he's not putting in his best effort at this point. And I mean, they took the belt was taken off of him with Ray. Ray had the belt. I mean, he probably would still had the belt if he hadn't hurt his shoulder, at least at that point in time. So I wasn't totally surprised by the finish, but I I think Ricochet he can. I think he can hang in with the guys. Like I say, he's got more size than what Ray can bring to the table, and he does cool stuff. That's what the kids want. So I think hopefully hopefully that he'll get the chance to shine more than Neville did. I think Neville they just kind of put him in a small man's box, and he never got the opportunity to work with some of the larger stars in the WWE. But I mean, hey, you saw what happened at the end of the match. Who was he hugging? He was hugging Triple H. So
Right.
and there's nowhere to go but up. So I'm sure they'll give him the the rocket pack to the stars.
Strap it to his back and let's go.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, they took on Heavy Machinery for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Daniel Bryan blind tags in as Otis slams Rowan. Bryan low bridges Tucker. He goes flying outside of the ring. Bryan hits a missile drop kick on Otis, but Tucker is back and he wipes out Rowan with a dive. But Daniel Bryan, he gets the win with the small package on Tucker, and Bryan and Rowan retain the SmackDown Tag Team titles.
It's funny, we know what role that um, Daniel Bryan and Rowan are playing, but we seen who the crowd was behind during this match.
Oh yes.
they and then the chance was everything. Drive a Prius, recycle. It was like this was crowd participation that you need in a match.
Daniel Bryan, that dude's back is strong as shit. He carried 300-pound dudes in this match to a fantastic match. When you look at this on paper, like, I don't know about heavy machinery in a championship match already, but Daniel Bryan worked his magic, man, and this was a hell of a match.
He did.
Bayley, she faced off against Alexa Bliss, SmackDown Women's Championship match. Alexa Bliss sends Bayley to the steps. Then we get the code red on the floor, and Bliss rolls Bayley back in. She heads up top for the Twisted Bliss. But Nikki Cross rolls in because Bayley had attacked her on the floor earlier, and that allows Bayley to counter the Twisted Bliss. She gets the knees up. Bayley then hits the Bayley to belly, and Bayley retains the SmackDown Women's title. Well, Bayley can. There's not many things that she can say that she's actually better than Sasha Banks said, but she can say that she actually has defended her title more times than Sasha has.
Oh, that was shade. But truth.
Hey, man, it's the facts, Jack.
Oh, it is.
That's the reason why the boss hadn't been on TV. I'm pretty sure that's one of the reasons why she hadn't been on TV in the last 3 months.
I ain't seen that girl since.
Yeah. So, long story here. Interesting to see if Nikki is going to beat Alexa to the turn, or if Alexa is going to do what she always does, manipulate her way through Nikki to greener pastures and then leave Nikki behind once she reaches them. I like this new, more aggressive Bayley that we had for this round against Alexa Bliss. It wasn't the first time when Bayley had the championship and we got the "this is my life" and all that, and just to kind of, well, I'm living my dream, I'm glad to be champion Bayley. This was more like, fuck that, I'm trying to stay champion Bayley.
Right.
We get highlights of the recent 24/7 episodes with Truth and Drake Maverick. Drake Maverick dressing up like Carmella at the end of last week's SmackDown to win the title. Then R-Truth crashing Drake Maverick's wedding, pinning him on his way out after the ceremony was done to regain the 24/7 championship.
Oh, man.
No days off.
No days off.
Who's ever writing that has to have a lot of fun.
I know they said
teaching those scenarios and situations.
They said Drake Maverick is producing those segments, those 24/7 segments. So it's kind of catching the eyes of people backstage. So kudos to him on doing that.
That's what's up. The more you can do.
Yep.
Because guess what? If there ain't a spot for you there, the word travels and he can end up backstage doing that and more at someplace else.
It was funny. They were showing photos of the wedding, and Matt Hardy's son had the title. I was like, did they have a title change that we didn't know about? Because King Maxwell had the title, was running around with it. Yeah, I was like, look at this. I said, R-Truth taking pictures that he had the title, he running. I'm like, oh man, this is crazy.
You know what's funny about that belt? If you ever look at it really close, all the other belts have like very significant and eye-catching side plates, which really kind of make the title complete. Right. But if you ever look at that belt, because it's going to change hands so much, it's just solid gold on the side. It's nothing. It doesn't say 24/7. Doesn't have any type of plate on it, just because they know, so many people are going to have it. It's not a bad looking title. After you know what it looks like. It looks like the WBO boxing championship.
Good call. Yep, you're exactly right.
Except for it has a silver plate, the boxing one does, and this one has a gold. But it has that same green leather, same round face. I think it's pretty cool looking.
It's cool. I want the shirt though. Truth is 24/7. I
Yeah.
want that shirt.
That is a sweet shirt. The big dog. Oh, excuse me. First, the Good Brothers congratulate Ricochet during his photo shoot. AJ Styles joins in and says that he will see Ricochet on Monday Night Raw. So now we head to Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. Roman fires up and gets cut off and then hits the spear, but Shane pulls the referee out. Shane beats down Roman. He heads up top and he flies with the coast to coast. Drew covers. Shane rolls the referee back in, but Roman kicks out at 2. Drew looks for the Claymore, but Roman hits the Superman punch. Roman dumps Shane to the outside. Then he hits the spear on Drew, and Roman Reigns gets the win. Now, Mo, I haven't heard any confirmation about the health status of the referee from this match. Where Shane McMahon, I don't guess he was late or the referee was too far in the ring. But anyway, man, Shane McMahon had to put his whole body in the ring to pull the referee out. And he might have tore that man's PCL in the process.
Oh man, that was it was crazy. They said the ref is injured, and I'm like, wait, what? He said the ref he holding his knee, and he just let. I said he was down like Kevin Durant was in the playoffs, and I'm like, dog. Oh my man, I'm just saying. That's how I just looked. He was just like he couldn't really stand on it, and then he was just looking. And I'm like, if he's selling it, then if it's a work, then he's really doing a good job of selling it being hurt. But Shane pulled him, and you could just literally see how he just flew out the ring, and he was just down on the side, just holding it. And he got back in the ring, and I was like, I don't know, bro.
Every time I see these two guys in the lead up to the match, I'm like, this is going to be a hell of a match. Then they get in the match, and it's like, this isn't a hell of a match. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's those things where if they had a match where it was more of a brawl and less of a quote unquote wrestling match, it would probably pop a little bit more to me. There's some guys that Roman doesn't need to wrestle. There's some guys he just needs to brawl with. The bigger guys he needs to brawl with. They shouldn't be out here doing reverse chin locks to each other.
Right. It should you're not a technical wrestler. That's not your style. You're the way they got Roman built. He's brawling and straight fighting and just throwing you everywhere. You get down there doing wrist locks or whatever. I'm like, come on, dog. It's not you.
Another technical marvel, Dolph Ziggler. He challenged Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship in a steel cage match. Kofi counters a super kick. Dolph tries to back out of the door, but Kofi stops him. Dolph keeps fighting. He counters the suplex, and he tries to escape again. Kofi pulls him back in the cage. Dolph rakes Kofi's eyes, and he kicks him away. Dolph looks to escape through the door, but Kofi does a suicide dive through the door to the floor, and Kofi Kingston retains the WWE Championship.
Dolph was halfway out the door thinking it was going to be him until he seen Kofi just landing right in front of him, like somebody tossed him out.
Yeah, they call it a suicide dive, folks, because if you watch the replay, his feet got caught up in the ropes.
Oh man,
he dropped like a sack of bricks.
And as soon as you mentioned it, and they showed the replay, I just watched the feet and the foot right where you said he got caught at, and he just dropped. I'm like,
Yeah, I thought when he landed, I thought his shoulder was gonna be all jacked up because he landed right on his shoulder and arm. I was like, oh no, Kobe just dislocated his shoulder, but he's all right. Those little skinny dudes, man, rubber band men, it pays to not have all that bulk and weight on you sometimes in those situations like that.
Right.
You don't get hurt as often. You have bad landings or, get twisted up. G, your assessment of Kofi's championship run. He's beaten Dolph 3 times now. He's beaten Sami Zayn. He's beaten Kevin Owens a couple of times. Daniel Bryan. What do you think? How, have they made him look strong enough? Have they done enough to, you know, that you feel proud of his championship run and as far as a booking of him?
I mean, look, WrestleMania was the top of the mountain for me. I mean, he could do no wrong after that. And I just don't think they really fed him, the elite talent that they really should give to the champion. I mean, getting the win over Daniel Bryan, like I said, that was the top of the mountain. You know, everyone has made him look, really strong as a champion, but I think they could put him in better matchups and give him bigger names.
I agree. That's my feeling as well too. It was just like I'm like watching it was just like okay, I'm not getting the feeling that they really are booking him in a way that like he's that a dominant champion. Like this has been a long time coming. It's like okay, you have the title and you're going to keep it, but it's just how just the booking is playing out, you know. But that's just how I see it as well. That's how I see it. I'm just like I want him to have a strong program leading into like going up to SummerSlam and make me say, okay, this run has been worth it. But right now, I mean, it's fine who he's been beaten, but now I'm just like, okay, you're not really, making me feel like he's really deserving of this title. It's like, I'm watching this, give me that feeling of Kofi actually reaping the benefits of winning the title. Winning the title at WrestleMania. You know,
After the match, we get a New Day celebration. Kofi puts over Dolph as a good challenger, but he says he's still your WWE champion. Main event of the evening time, Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin for the Universal Championship. Lacey Evans is announced as the special referee. Rollins hits the Falcon Arrow onto the chair, but we get no count. Lacey then slaps Seth, and then she falls with a low blow. The end of days by Baron Corbin connects, but that's when Becky Lynch comes out and makes the save. She kicks Lacey's ass. Becky beats down Lacey on the floor. She hits an exploder, and then she follows with strikes. We get a new ref. Rollins hits a super kick, followed by the blackout, and Seth Rollins retains the Universal title. So I guess they're trying to put out the perception that behind every strong man, there's a strong woman, as we are in full Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch relationship exploitation mode. This main event was brutal.
it was. And the fact that he chose Lacey, I was like, oh, that's actually pretty genius. But then you kind of knew what was going to happen in the long run, who was going to come out and have a play in as well too. So it was basically like, okay, like we see the cards you played, so now we just wait for everything to play out. And that was a brutal match. Then
Why did
Lacey,
it need to? Why did it need to be 18 minutes long? What was the need in that? Can't you wrap all that up in like 10 minutes? Nobody cared about the match anyway.
they could have, but Vince, gotta tell a story. We need suspense, damn it. And I'm looking like, sir. I'm like, okay, we broke the table. And then Lacey's like, no count outs. I'm like, okay, here comes the heel tactics and everything.
Yeah, she did the old Pat Patterson when they had the Stooges, and they was doing the special referee stuff, and they would do all that type of stuff. No disqualifications, no countouts, no tornado match, anything goes, handicap match, whatever.
You know, getting out doing the count, and the next thing you know, she getting there talking about some, about to go to three. Then she hurt. Then mysteriously, her shoulders hurt, and Corey Graves like, well, she did wrestle earlier in the evening,
She got put in a disarmor.
right? Now didn't you say you called Michael Cole out earlier for calling the wrong move in that match?
Oh yeah, he called it the disarmor when she clearly had the cross arm breaker on.
Right.
Like, Michael Cole.
That had me laughing a good 15 minutes during that match. And then when she finally put it this arm on, he's like, now you can call the right move. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. Like, man, Michael Cole, good Lord. But I mean, if you got Vince in your ear yelling and screaming, I'm pretty sure it'd be difficult to keep all
I would hate to be on
personal-
commentary and Vince is in your ear, just in your ear. I know you want to take them headphones off and be like, you know what? I'm walking out. I can't take this.
Yeah, man. A lot of people can't that they think would be good on commentary. They can't take events being in there producing them. And so it's just very difficult, they say. Very, very difficult. So before we move on, what would you guys like to rate Stomping Grounds 1 out of 5? I'll start with our guest, Mr. Mo_Reese. Your rating of Stomping Grounds, sir?
3.5 in that range.
I agree with you. Mr. Magnum Prime?
I give it a 3.
Everything was going great until they got to the Alexa Bliss and Bayley match.
Right.
And they got there, and from that match until the end, it was kind of like wah. But before that, the pre-show, the 2 tag team matches, Becky and Lacey was kind of. But other than that, man, those other matches were really good.
Really turned the corner.
Right. I did like the creative finish for the cage match, though. I'd never seen a cage match in WWE one like that.
I'm sure Kofi was like, let me just do this and it'll get the crowd on their feet. And it worked.
Even though WWE has the dumbest rules for a cage match ever. The whole point is to stay in the damn thing. Why can you win by getting out? But they've always had that rule ever since the Big Blue Cage. So that's just kind of I guess that was the way that they could get away with not having talented enough wrestlers to wrestle a 30, 40-minute cage match like they would in the South. So, 15 minutes and have a big guy get out the cage somehow. He's a winner. Now it's time to turn our attention to Monday Night Raw from Everett, Washington. Becky and Seth, they come out. There's Becky, of course, getting the bigger reaction and cheers. Seth Rollins isn't through with being interrupted. Then he gives Corbin credit for picking Lacey as the special referee at Stomping Grounds. He said that he wasn't smart enough to know that he has the best backup plan on the planet. Becky says it pays to be the man's man. Lynch then runs down Lacey Evans, noting that she beat her and slapped her head off her shoulders. Baron Corbin arrives as Lacey Evans attacks Becky Lynch from behind, but Becky gets the upper hand. She begins to kick her ass as Seth Rollins then fights off Baron Corbin. So the WWE power couple, they clear the ring. Corbin says Becky Lynch has saved Seth again, and Seth should give her the title, and he should go home and make a sandwich for the man.
Misogyny at its best.
Sound like it was 1957. Corbin says if it wasn't for Becky Lynch, he'd be the champion now. He says he picked Lacey Evans because she's the only real woman around here and makes the mixed tags challenge for Extreme Rules. Becky Lynch agrees, but if Corbin and Lacey Evans lose, they get no more title shots. Baron Corbin agrees and then says that there'll be one more stipulation. And Seth Rollins, being the hothead, says, yep, we got this in the bag. We'll agree to whatever you want. Baron says that both of the titles will be on the line in this match as well. So this will become a winner take all Extreme Rules. I don't think it'll be Extreme Rules, but it'll just be a mixed tag match for both the Raw Championship and the Universal title between Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins versus Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin.
Oh man! And like saw it, and as soon as everything played out and those two came out, I was like, okay, here we go. We see the writing on the wall, and then next thing you know, they come with a challenge, and I'm like, okay. And then they said, then like you said, Seth being the hot head saying we accept. I'm like, figures. Some way, somehow, we gonna have to get the titles on the line. And I'm like, okay.
Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans, they ain't got the juice.
they ain't got the juice, the range, none of that.
Not to be your main event focus. Hey, for the next couple of weeks, these two people are gonna carry, the main program, be the, antagonist of a main program. Nah.
I'm thinking that's the end. Nope.
We have an elimination match as our first matchup. The Usos, they team up with Big E and Xavier Woods to take on the Revival and Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. So the two number one contenders, so it seems, for the tag team championships are facing off against both sets of tag team champions. A very interesting mix-up of a match. This is an elimination match. Daniel Bryan dumps Xavier Woods to the floor and he hits Dawson with a suicide dive. Now, we don't know if that was by accident or if he, meant to do it. But anyway, back in, Daniel Bryan hits a missile drop kick on Xavier Woods. He follows with some yes kicks. But then that's when Dash hits Daniel Bryan. And that allowed Xavier Woods to cradle Daniel Bryan and eliminate Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. Xavier Woods begins to run wild, but then he does a springboard right into the Shatter Machine, and he gets pinned by the Revival, and Big E and Xavier Woods are now eliminated. So now it's the Revival versus the Usos. Dawson runs into an enziguri, and Jimmy heads up top, and Dawson cuts him off. Jay tags in, and Dawson knocks him to the floor. The Revival looked for the Powerplex, which was the old Power and Glory finishing move where...
Yes, thank you. I'm glad somebody caught that.
where one member of the team does a superplex and then the other member comes off with the splash. But the Usos thwarted that. Jay hit the splash part. The superplex did take place, but then Jay hit the splash on Dawson, and the Usos get the win. Power and Glory, a very underrated old school WWF.
Very underrated. And as soon as I saw that setup, I was like, I know that finishing maneuver. And even though it didn't go through, I just knew the setup, and I was like, oh, this Hercules and Paul Roma.
Yeah, man. They the Revival always throw a bone to somebody. They do the heart attack, when Jim Neidhart died. They'll do double drop kicks, Rock and Roll Express. They'll do Midnight Express moves. So they always incorporate at least one old school tag team move in their matches. Students of the game.
Exactly. That's how it should be.
Miz TV is here. R-Truth and Carmella are the guests.
No, wait. Before, did you notice who was stalking Miz as he was walking to the ring?
Oh yeah, was that one of the Firefly Funhouse?
It was Abby. Abby was creeping.
Yeah. We didn't get a Firefly Funhouse segment this week, but we did get some of the characters.
Somebody in the chat that said, on the hashtag said this whole episode was that because we saw them in the various places and everything.
Right.
So it could be a sign that Bray's coming back to TV.
Right. Yeah, I thought that he was supposed to. I thought they had put him, advertised him as debuting one of those weeks, but he never came out. I thought it was maybe last week.
Yeah, they either Vince probably wanted to hold off or something, but I don't know. It's just like when you have something that's good and it's entertaining, then it's like they kind of throw a wrench at us and everything. It's like, what is going on?
So Miz TV with R-Truth and Carmella. Miz says the 24/7 rules are suspended during this interview. Miz puts over Truth's 24/7 title runs and his win at Drake Maverick's wedding. Truth is a national treasure. Truth puts over defending the 48/7 European TV Championship. He says it's no joke. He says the guys show up at his crib just as the police. And he says he's smarter than that. Carmella says that Truth takes his championship seriously. Jake Maverick arrived talking about Truth taking his wedding day away from him and ruining his life. He says his wife has shut him out after the loss, and he mentions the lack of consummation. Truth thinks that he says constipation
Constipation. Right.
and gives him some remedies for that.
Oh,
Drake
man.
Maverick then asks for a proper one-on-one match to win back the love of his life, the 24/7 championship. Miz says if Truth accepts, everyone else is banned from the match, and so Truth gives Hornswoggle his match. So R-Truth versus Drake Maverick for the 24/7 championship. Maverick attacks Truth at the bell, but Truth cuts him off, and he hits the what's that? The I forgot what's that his finishing move is called, but he pins Drake Maverick in like a 10-second match. After the match, all the jobbers arrive and they try to fight R-Truth, but he escapes. Drake Maverick appears like he's about to cry. Charlie interviews him, but he just walks to the back, a beaten and defeated man. Lacey and Baron Corbin talk about their match at Extreme Rules and wanting to win the titles. Lacey says Becky is Seth's kryptonite and teased being the new power couple in WWE. Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon versus Roman Reigns. The heels are beating down Roman. We get a Claymore by Drew, and Shane hits the spear. Drew hits another Claymore, and Shane now looks to go coast to coast. That's when the Undertaker's dong hits, and he saves the big dog. He chokeslams Shane. He works over Drew. He clotheslines him over the top, and then he clotheslines Shane McMahon over the top as well.
I'm telling you, I was laying, and the next thing I heard those gongs, I sat up and it was like, wait a minute, he was not advertised tonight.
Did you do your own version of the Undertaker sit-up?
No. I know what you're talking about, but no, I didn't know. It was just fun. I was just like, I'm like, he wasn't advertised. I'm like, what's he doing here? Then next thing you know, he beats them down, and I was kind of interested. The person he had the last match with at WrestleMania is the one who he comes out and saves, And they come to find out, they saying that I guess they didn't like the super showdown match that he had with Goldberg, so Undertaker wants to handpick Drew McIntyre as his next opponent, and I'm like, all right, man. I was like, whatever gets you through the night.
Plus, they can always tie in Shane and Undertaker match from last year, their unfinished business. So, it's very interesting to see the old dog come save the big dog.
Right.
But it got the people going for sure, and it definitely had everybody talking.
That's how you gotta do it.
Straight out of 1993 WWF Wrestling Challenge, Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman had a tug of war. Braun wins, then Bobby Lashley attacks him. They brawl. Lashley posts Braun. Lashley then chokes Braun out with the rope, but Braun fights back. He tackles Lashley on the floor. Lashley then clothesline Braun into the barricade, and Bobby Lashley stands tall.
Goddamn tug of war. I'm like looking, and I was like, okay. I said the arm wrestling thing was. I said I knew how that was going to happen. I seen tug of war this week. I was like, why? I said, why must you torture us?
Straight up field day events.
Right. Like, who's getting the gold medal this time, kids?
Charlie interviews AJ Styles, and he says he's ready to get back in the ring and face Ricochet tonight. He wants to fight the best, and he feels that that is Ricochet. No Way Jose's music hits. The conga line is dancing, and who's in the front? None other than the Good Brothers. AJ is pissed at them for fucking around. He tells them to get serious. Styles asks, "Where are the old Gallows and Anderson?" And they get offended. They say they will prove him wrong right now against the Viking Raiders. The Viking Raiders take on the Good Brothers. Now, if this was Cast Strong style, this would be a totally different review. But since this is the WrestleCast, Anderson lands strikes, then celebrates. That allows Eric to cut him off and tag in Ivar. Ivar runs wild and dumps Luke Gallows. The suicide dive connects, and Thor's hammer finishes off Anderson, and the Viking Raiders get the win.
Vegas.
We're building a story of either AJ getting pissed at these boys and not wanting to deal with them no more, or they start getting on a winning streak. AJ gets behind them, and then we get maybe a heel version of AJ running with the club, the official run with the club.
Right. I mean, I guess it's we worth watching. Seeing what this build is going to be.
Nikki Cross apologizes to Alexa Bliss for her actions at Stomping Grounds as Alexa accuses Bayley of being a manipulator. Natalia and Naomi meet with Nikki and tell her that she can't trust Alexa. Alexa then arrives and interrupts. They have an argument which leads to Naomi challenging Alexa to a match. Then we have the best part of the show. R-Truth arrives. He's being chased by all the jobbers in the back, and he runs right through what was supposed to be a Heath Slater versus Mojo Rawley match. Yes. Well, Heath Slater hits a net breaker on R-Truth, and Heath Slater is your new 24/7 champion. Heath Slater runs, but can't make an escape, and Truth hits the lie detector on Heath to regain the title. Cedric Alexander arrives. He hits the lumbar check on Truth, and now Cedric Alexander is your new 24/7 champion. Cedric Alexander runs Mojo into the post, but EC3 hits the one presenter on the floor on the Cedric, and EC3 is your new champion. Carmella distracts EC3, and that allows Truth to win the title back as Truth and Carmella run out to the back.
I'm telling you, whoever's updating the Wikipedia for this has a hell of a job to do.
That was a lot in just a paragraph.
It was. It was. But
that was the first time in like 6 months I've seen EC3 actually legitimately happy about something involving wrestling.
Yeah, man. His main roster call up has been a total waste.
They cut short what could have been an awesome program between him and Velveteen Dream, which probably could have led to them maybe becoming like tag team partners or something.
Right.
Just so much story that they just barely, scratch the surface of, and then zoop, EC3's on the main roster. Like, what?
And he's doing nothing.
He's drinking a lot of num juice, though. He always has that
I'm telling you, he stole Montez Ford's gimmick.
We get some Ricochet comments on his United States title win at Stomping Grounds. He says it's a feeling that he doesn't want to go away. He says it took the support of his friends, family, and the fans to get him there. He says tonight he faces AJ Styles, someone he's looked up to his entire career. And he says he will prove that he is worthy to be the United States champion. That's the one flaw in his game he's got to try to find is the promo.
Right.
If he can get that flaw to become not so much as the biggest red flag for him. If it becomes like a yellow flag, there's no telling where Ricochet could go. But if you can't cut the promo or handle the majority of the script of the promo, you're gonna be at a ceiling in
But my thing is,
WWE right now.
if you are, if you're supposed to, sell your match or thing like that, you could you could you could give them bullet points and say, okay, try to hit this, this, and this, and then take it from there and see how that works, like they was doing, years ago. But it's like they give them a script and say, okay, read this, and it's like,
Here's the only thing about that, Domo. You're dealing with a generation of wrestlers who, for the most part, unless they have a lot of experience on the indies, they probably don't even know how to come up with a promo within those bullet points like that because they've already had somebody do it for them.
this is where Dusty he has promo classes.
Right. And then, the indies, they're not that big on promos in general. It's more about in ring over the talking anyway. So there's no real way for them to get that polished at it. And I think that's the reason why they do it so much. I just think that what they need to do is, like Chris Jericho and Goldust were saying, is okay, there are some guys that need, hey, A to Z, written out for them. Don't stray off of anything. Stay in this line, But the guys who are capable of going out there and giving you 2.5 minutes of goal without much prep or scripting, then those are the people they need to let do that.
Right.
And I think the product would benefit greatly. That's one of the things modern wrestling doesn't have. It doesn't have too many memorable promos. Like back in the day, you can, so many Steve Austin promos, so many Rock promos, DX promos, Bret Hart promos. You can remember some of those interviews way more than you can the matches. Whereas in this day and age, you remember far more matches than you do promos.
Right.
Kofi Kingston takes on Sami Zayn. They came down and Kofi was getting interviewed. They interrupted his interview. They asked him a whole bunch of questions because this is an impromptu version of the Kevin Owens show. Kofi basically says he done beat both of them. Sami, you can come get beat again. And so they have their match. Kofi counters the hell of a Lou kick with the running double stomp. Kofi follows with rights, but flies into a big boot, and Sami covers for a 2 count. Kofi counters the Blue Thunder Bomb into a cradle, and Kofi Kingston gets the win. After the match, Kevin Owens makes a challenge. He challenges Kofi to a match right now. So Kofi Kingston faces off against Kevin Owens. Kofi counters the pop-up powerbomb, but Owens pulls him to the floor, and Kofi hits a big backdrop. Kofi follows with the SOS on the ramp, and then Kofi rolls back in just in the nick of time to beat the count, and Kofi Kingston defeats Kevin Owens by countout. That SOS on the to the head, and then Kevin Owens hitting his head on that, still great. That shit look like it for real.
Oh, man, it's nasty.
I could see why his ass got counted out.
Right.
Post match, Kofi hits a big dive onto Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn as Samoa Joe attacks Kofi and slams him into the LED boards. The Uranagi follows on the stage, and then Samoa Joe chokes Kofi Kingston out.
Now I'm thinking Joe's going to try to focus on getting his title back from Ricochet, and he out here saying, "Okay, on to the next challenge, and let me get the jump on Kofi." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm here for this." And we and you had this discussion during the hashtag, you know, You said it should have been Randy. I'm like, I'm here for the whole Joe aspect because it's a fresh. Even though they had their battles during the gauntlet leading up to WrestleMania, this is a fresh storyline, and I think Joe can bring out the best in Kofi. To be honest,
It'll be the first real matchup where it looks like Kofi is in peril, where he doesn't have the strength advantage. All he has is his speed, and you know Samoa Joe may be able to negate that once they do have a match. I'll be interested to hear the Samoa Joe promo to basically lay it on the line why he put Kofi in his sights. We haven't gotten that yet. And then once we go from there, it'll be interesting to see how long this goes and how they weave the story. If Samoa Joe's going to be out here trying to systematically pick off the New Day one at a time until Kofi doesn't have no backup or what. So be interesting to see how that plays out as we get further down the line. It's announced that Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon will take on Roman Reigns and The Undertaker at Extreme Rules. Alexa Bliss takes on our girl Naomi. Naomi hits the split-legged leg drop and covers for a 2 count. Alexa Bliss powers to the outside, and then Naomi drop kicks Nikki by mistake as Alexa Bliss moves out of the way. Back in, Alexa Bliss hit the spike DDT, and Alexa Bliss got the win over Naomi. So after the match, Alexa Bliss beats down Naomi. Nikki reluctantly joins in until Natalya makes the save. And that leads to, guess what, Maurice?
What's that?
A straight up tag team match, player, as Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross faced off against Natalya and Naomi. Nikki hits a drop kick. She heads up top and hits the high cross for a 2 count. Natalya fights her off. Alexa Bliss tags in. Nikki hits the purge, and Alexa Bliss steals the pin as Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross get the win.
So they're trying to build. I mean, I guess it's progressing the storyline with Alexa and Nikki, and I'm hoping Nikki sees the light and turns on her and everything. A couple of people I talked to, they don't like how Nikki's character has just did this drastic change, so to speak. Just not. She wasn't the same crazy and like NXT and everything, and how she had great matches down there. Now she's kind of like the flunky for Alexa Bliss in her quest to beat Bayley for the title.
Main event time. Ricochet faced off against AJ Styles. Styles follows with a Furious Strikes and a clothesline for a 2 count. Ricochet fires back up with chops and a twister suplex and a lion salt for a 2 count. Ricochet heads up top. He rolls through on the 630. AJ Styles then hits the phenomenal forearm, and AJ Styles picks up the win over Ricochet. Now, see, this is a perfect example, right? Ricochet wins the title out the blue the night before. Mm-hmm. So you're like, oh, shit, okay, we need to get behind Ricochet. All right. Then the next night, he has a high-profile match against AJ Styles, and what happened?
He loses.
So how can you get behind somebody? Like, now, imagine what that does for his stock if he beats AJ Styles. Like, even if it was on like a quick roll-up or something where AJ could be like, you know what? Caught me slipping. Let's run it back.
Right. The funny thing about this match was Gallows and Anderson coming out, and then AJ grabbing his mic and says, "No, this match won't restart until you leave." And I'm like, okay. I said, okay. Then we're going to commercial, and by the time they get back,
yeah, man, they got to find these creative ways to get these commercial breaks in.
Right. He said this match won't this match won't continue until you leave. I'm like, all right, I saw what you did there. But it was getting AJ and Ricochet was getting rave reviews on this match, and it was a pretty good match. It was like one the outcome that we was hoping. If it was like a quick win or a DQ, then something that could just kind of carry on the storyline and whatnot. That I'd have been fine with that, but just to have AJ straight up beat him the night after he wins the title kind of bothers me. But I guess booking's going to book a man's going to book the way he wants to book.
So that brings us to SmackDown. Shane opens the show. He says that Roman fears he and Drew and that he brought in the Undertaker to help. Shane says he fears no man and plans to make Reigns a dead man. And Shane says he's pissed off. Kofi comes out. He's out with the New Day. He addresses Samoa Joe's attack on Raw. Kofi says that since he won the title at Mania, he's had great moments, but he's also experienced some painful and agonizing moments as well. He beat Ziggler at Stomping Grounds and taking a leap of faith to do so. And then Raw happened. They show the footage of Joe beating him up on Raw. Kofi says that it was brutal and painful. He says that Joe isn't complicated. He's a force of nature. And Joe thinks that Extreme Rules that he's found his prey. Kofi goes on to say that he thinks, he's going to prove Joe wrong, and that's when Dolph Ziggler arrives. He says no one will come to take his spot. Kofi knows better. This isn't a game. This is Ziggler's life, and this is his everything. Ziggler says Woods saved him once, and on Sunday, Kofi took the coward's way out to win. Everyone knows Ziggler should be the WWE champion right now. WWE management says if Ziggler beats Kofi tonight, then he'll be added to the Extreme Rules title match between Samoa Joe and Kofi Kingston, and he'll get what he deserves, the WWE title. He says also the match is going to be 2 out of 3 falls. Miz mixed with Elias. He wants to start with Shane. Elias warns Miz not to meet with Shane, and Miz tells Elias to tell Shane that their feud needs to end. Miz leaves, and Shane arrives. Shane accepts the match if Miz can beat Elias in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Rowan and Daniel Bryan, they take on Xavier Woods and Big E. Daniel Bryan locks Big E in the label lock. Woods makes the save. He gets dumped to the outside where he drop kicks Rowan. Daniel Bryan lays in kicks on Big E, but he runs into the STO. The up, down, down connects, and the New Day, they pin Daniel Bryan. Kevin and Sammy, they attack after the match until Heavy Machinery comes down to make the save. The faces stand tall, and they clear the ring.
And then
you'll never guess what happened.
I don't know. It sounded like the spirit of Teddy Long was in the building or something like that.
Straight up 8-man tag team match, player. As the New Day.
And there's elimination too.
As the New Day and Heavy Machinery take on Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan, and Rowan. We get a hot tag to Otis. He runs wild on Sammy. The spinning slam follows, and then the corner splash connects. Otis hits the caterpillar. He tags in. The compactor by Heavy Machinery finishes off Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens just stood on the apron, watched his best friend get pinned, and then he walked off.
Oh, he left before that. He was like, "Oh, I'm out."
They recap the Nikki Cross Alexa Bliss angle. If Nikki beats Bayley tonight, Alexa Bliss will get her rematch. We get that cool Mustafa Ali video package again that they showed at Stomping Grounds. Now it's time for The Miz versus Elias, 2 out of 3 falls. Shane cuts off the springboard attempt by The Miz, and Elias hits a knee strike and then drifts away for the pin. So that was fall 1. Miz lays in kicks, but Elias cradles him for 2. Miz fires back with more kicks. He takes out Shane, and the Skull Crusher finale gets a 2 count as Shane breaks it up for the disqualification. So now we're tied at one fall apiece. Shane and Elias, they beat down the Miz. They dump him to the floor, and Shane slams him off of the announce table and tosses the Miz over it. They whip the Miz into the barricade and back in the ring. Shane spears the Miz. Fall 3 finally begins. Elias heads up top and he hits the big elbow drop for the win. After the match, Shane goes coast to coast on the Miz. It was good to see Elias get a win on TV here
Yes.
after they had kind of beat him like a drum on Monday Night Raw the past like
Ooh.
2 weeks.
Oh, he got. Oh man, he need this come up.
I'm here for everything involving Elias, interviews, matches.
Hold on. They had called him. Miz called him a fake Bob Dylan, and then we started going off in the hashtag calling fake guitars names and everything.
Yeah, I think you called him a great value Eric Clapton.
Yeah. Oh man, it's little things like that just kind of carries on when we in the hashtag. It's just kind of little things like that. It's just little fun things like that. It's why I enjoy being on the hashtags. Doing these shows because we watch the matches, but we can just have additional fun with it.
Exactly. Always a lot of fun in the hashtag Rawcast or the hashtag SmackDown Matters Live tweets. So every Monday and Tuesday nights, share your commentary with color by using each of those hashtags. Finn Balor, he's still alive. He says he respects Andrade, but he overcame him. They ask him who's his next challenger going to be, and that's when Nakamura walks in. He points at the belt and walks off. And Finn Balor smiles and is like, hey, okay, that's what's up.
If you notice, he did the too sweet to the belt as this symbol saying, yeah, he's like, I see you, sir.
We have to give some shouts and prayers out to Andrade Cien Almas. He's had some really tough struggles going on. His mom and his aunt passed away.
Oh, wow.
So that's the reason why he hasn't been on TV, and that's the reason why this kind of program with him and Finn kind of fizzled out leading up to Stomping Grounds. So, yeah, he's been on leave. So, big ups to Andrade and prayers up to him and his family.
Definitely.
All right, Bayley versus Nikki Cross. If Nikki Cross wins, Alexa Bliss gets a title rematch with Bayley. Bayley misses a high crossbody block, allowing Nikki to cradle her for a 2 count. They trade cradles until Nikki counters and pins Bayley, giving Alexa Bliss her rematch.
Something is telling me that Nikki is going to get inserted into this match, and it's going to be a 3-way. I don't know how it's going to happen, but she's going to be in that match, and I mean she's going to be a participant in that match as well. And Alexa's probably going to try to have her do all
the work,
and then she tries to pick up the win.
Right. Yeah, she's doing Alexa Bliss things.
Right.
She's one person who may not ever be able to be a babyface. Or if it's a babyface, it's one of those Kevin Owens 3-week babyface runs just to turn on somebody.
Like she had a nice when she was in NXT, she had that run as a babyface, and then she was just out there, little cheerleader gimmick. The next thing you know, she got with
Blake and Murphy.
Got with them, and then that's when she took off on that heel run, took way off, and then that propelled her to come to the main roster. And she's consistent with it being a character and everything. Her wrestling is a little bit more desired because she's often injured, but she has that look that Vince wants, and she's going to be that face of the heel. The women's one of the top stars of the women division in the months to come. But she can, like I said, she can do a real. Her heel work is really great, And like you said, if she becomes face, I'm not trusting it.
Carmella is looking for R-Truth, but she finds Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. She then
Correction.
finds
That's the hold on. Shout out to Jay to the Max. That's future SmackDown or Raw Women's Champion Sonya Deville. Now you can continue.
she finds R-Truth and Drake Maverick arrives and talks about Truth ruining his wedding day. Truth hugs him and says he thought it was Carmella's wedding and tells Tony Talker to get a ref and pin him. It was a trap as R-Truth escapes and the jobbers run in and they all run over Drake Maverick. He's like, psych. He was like, I love this title more than you love your wife.
Great line of the night. And Drake was like, I can't. And next thing you know, all of a sudden you turn around, you just see, like on the cartoons when all the characters come running and they just come trampling over him. And he's just sitting there like, I'm like, poor him. I said,
24/7 title, the best shit in WWE main roster TV right now.
He's the and they say in a recent WWE.com poll has him as like the favorite champion of all the champions right now. He's the favorite.
I can believe it. This shit's entertaining.
It's like he was 28%, Seth was at 23%. And I was like, this is kind of close, but R-Truth is just kind of is entertaining to watch, you know. And it's basically something for all the other guys who don't really get on TV, get them something to do and everything. But it's just, you know, he loses the title and I'm like, how you gonna get it back? The next thing you know, he finds a way to get it back. And, you know, he keeps up the comedy and everything, you know. And this is one thing I like about R-Truth. He's just that guy who can entertain you. He can give you a good match and he can entertain you at the same time, you know.
Most definitely. He's on his best run in WWE in a long time.
I know, because it was like for a minute he wasn't really just doing nothing. He was just backstage. And then he got the US title and then the 24/7 title was all his and he just took off running with it. And it's like everyone is like really enjoying him as being a champion.
Right. According to Maurice and Jade to the Max, future women's champion Sonya Deville faced off against Ember Moon. Sonya attacks with strikes, a running knee, and she covers for two. Ember Moon fires back with the flurry of kicks, and Sonya rolls to the floor. Ember Moon follows her. She takes Sonya back into the ring, but Mandy distracts Ember Moon, allowing Sonya to run Ember into the post, and Sonya Deville gets the pin and the win over Ember Moon.
So I don't know if you're peeping this, but I think they're teasing something between Mandy and Sonya.
Like they gonna break up?
No, a kind of a romance.
Oh, word!
It was just the little things I saw. Like she kind of like gave her that longing stare in her. Sonya gave her that longing stare in her face, like she wanted to kiss her, but she just kind of like they just walked out the ring, and I was just like, yeah, it might be something more to that, but it's just storyline based and everything.
This week when I saw Mandy Rose, my first thought was, "Oh, look at that girl with the Daisy Dukes on."
Oh man, but yes, all me and Jay to the Max, we just want to see Sonya have the title, and we can just. And we already mentioned
Tell everybody we told you so.
Hey, they already mentioned it twice that she could be a future champion. So you know they listen to us say it. They read the hashtag, put the title on it so we can get this ball rolling. I mean, I love how she's just like she's a great character. She stands for what she believes in. She's she's really putting the LGBT community, giving them a big, platform on the main roster, and she's really like she's doing it, in a way that is really catching the eyes of everyone. So it's like, hey, this is why I'm supporting her, and she's going to be a future champion, and we're going to be right there saying we told all of y'all from day one.
Aleister Black still waiting for somebody to come, challenge him to a fight. Someone finally knocks on the door. Aleister smiles, gets up, but we never see who it is. It's probably somebody delivering his ham sandwich he asked for from catering.
That's hilarious. He's sitting there, and the next thing you know, the door knocking. He got the sheep with this grin just appeared on his face, and I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "Who is going to answer? Who finally decides to answer this man's calling?"
It's a very interesting approach they used with him and Ricochet.
Right. I mean, after forcing them down our throats every week on that quick call up and everything, that was just like out of nowhere.
From the Super Bowl, from the night of the Super Bowl up until I say the middle of May, I swear those boys were on
They
every
were,
piece of TV WWE produced from NXT, Raw, and SmackDown. They was on.
oh my goodness. I forgot all about the Super Bowl and how the halftime
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 heat.
heat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that
That
was
just, that just tells you how much content they're generating, man.
it is.
Because at the time it was like, oh shit, halftime heat, hell yeah, that's a big deal.
Right.
Now you look back like 5 months later, like, damn, I forgot they even happened.
Right. I forgot all about they had did that, and then it was just like basically they were teaming up. They were teaming up in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic.
Mm-hmm.
They did that. The next thing they came on the main roster, they was doing that. Everybody's like, why you keep teaming them up? I was like, well, they kind of. I was saying to myself, they had to keep that going with that storyline in NXT, and the next thing you know, I'm thinking like, okay, they got to win at least one of these titles, and they came up empty. And the next thing you know, they finally broke them up. Ricochet stayed on Raw. Aleister Black went to SmackDown. And it was just like Aleister Black just wanted this whole recreation, sitting in the dark, talking about some "come fight me." And I was like, "What? Anybody challenging him? Andrade? You don't want to do? You don't want them old ghosts coming back? What?" No, I'm just saying. It's just, and then it was like months. We just sitting here in the dark. It's just sitting there talking. Like hell, I was hoping Dean Ambrose would have gave him the rub before he left the company, but that didn't even happen. They didn't even do that for us. But now we're going to see who answered the call.
Yeah, I can't wait because I swear I've been like, this dude, y'all complaining about Brock not coming to work. This dude talking about don't want nobody to fight him. But why don't you go to the ring instead of hiding out wherever the hell you hiding out where nobody can find you?
He's sitting there like hoping somebody will watch, and he said, Where is he at? Let me go fight him." And then he hears knock at the door. He's like, but it's going to be real interesting to see how this plays out at Extreme Rules.
Mm-hmm. Main event time for SmackDown: Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler. 2 out of 3 falls, non-title match. Dolph Ziggler counters the sunset flip and sits down for 2 as the ref caught Ziggler holding the ropes, leading to a Kofi pinfall. So Ziggler beats on Kofi on the floor. He hits a zigzag, and that's when fall 2 begins. Ziggler misses a corner charge. He runs into the post, but manages a super kick, and he pins Kofi, and things are all even at 1. Kofi counters the Famouster into a sit-out powerbomb for 2. Ziggler then counters Trouble in Paradise. He posts Kofi, and he hits the zigzag for a near fall. They work into counters. The Trouble in Paradise connects, and Kofi Kingston gets the win.
This match was just being talked about as well too.
Yeah, this was the best match they've had in their little series.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny when they always talk about the 2 out of 3 falls or whatnot, and then you'll see the whole beat down, and about to go to commercial because then you'll see wrestler A attack wrestler B, and they say, "Oh no, he's attacking him," and they haven't started the second match yet. And I'm like, "Okay, we're going to commercial." And then by the time they come back, they should be fine.
As long as they end on action and come back with action, then they could work in the commercials into the shows.
And that's how
Then,
it's like I would go to a live show and see that. I was like, okay, this is where they cut this is, and then it was like, then I would think back. I'm like, okay, this is where they cut the commercial at, because you will see where they like throw them outside, and
mhm,
next thing you know, they come back, they're back in the ring with a wrist lock or a chin lock or something like that, and
mhm.
you know, it's like, okay, I see what you're doing there, but yeah, it's this whole 2 out of 3.
Now let's say it was like it was the babyface was getting beat down. He starts his comeback. He throws the guy to the outside, or he does some kind of super duper spectacular move, or he gets right in the middle of some super duper spectacular move, and they got a cutaway for the commercial, right?
Right.
So then what you're thinking is, okay, the whole time there's all this action going on, you can't see it, and then all of a sudden when you come back, you have the baby face continuing the beat down, or you catch it right when the heel starts to take back over. You come back, from the break, and so and such was running wild during the commercial break, but right as we came back to action, the heel such and such, with such this maneuver, the awesome maneuver gains the advantage, and then you go back into your match. That's how you do it, instead of like, okay, I'm gonna throw the guy out to the outside, I'm gonna run him into the steps, and everybody knows, okay, here goes the commercial. And then the commercial break goes off, and then you come back from the commercial, and then you see a reverse chin lock spot. Like, this is so, and then it'd be different if it was like one match, but it's every freaking match.
Yep.
It's nothing any
Remember,
different. It's not like, oh, we came back and somebody was in a figure four almost about to lose or something.
right. Like inches closer to the ropes. But remember when the early days of the WWE network, when they had the second screen experience, and they would throw it to the app, like you'd go
Mm-hmm.
to the app and watch whether they was doing a commercial break, and then next thing you know, by the time they finish the commercial break, it's going back to TV. you know,
Mm-hmm.
they was doing that for a while, and they stopped that. Now Vince is trying to do something else. Like I'm like,
I think there are a lot of concessions that Fox is asking them to make,
right,
and now that we are, July is on the horizon, so that basically this is the second to last month of this quarter, and then September and October start the fall, and so I think that just in that preparation, and we're so close that they're trying to get everything lined up. So when October hits and they move to Fox, they can have everything Fox wants. They can have it lined up, or at least it's been working for a couple of months in place, where everything won't have to just be brand new. I really honestly believe that a lot of what we're seeing, as far as the wild card rule, as far as the TV, the shifting, and the who's writing the TV, all of this are things that Fox are asking them for.
that's right, because the whole wild card. As soon as that was introduced, I was like, this had to be something with Fox, because they don't want the big stars on the network, and with the brand split, they was like, we're gonna find some way to get it to come, to come together or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Final review will be NXT had a fun match to start the show. The first match in our NXT breakout tournament, Angel Garza, also known as Hector Garza Jr., faced off against Joaquin Wilde, also known as DJZ. Angel Garza hits the Spanish fly off the top for a great near fall. Wilde then cradles him up for a 2 count. We get a drop kick by Garza, followed by the sit-out butterfly buster, and Angel Garza gets the win, and he is the first athlete to advance in this new NXT breakout tournament match.
This match was excellent.
Won't it though?
I was like, I haven't really seen DJZ wrestle like in a couple of years. I'm from when I was like watched TNA, but they really put on a high quality match here, and I was like into it. I'm just sitting there watching, like, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
It was good to see two fresh faces on the show with completely different style and moves.
Right.
And because it was your first time, watching them wrestle, you didn't, you weren't in tune to their, 6 moves of doom that everybody does, So everything they did in this match was like, holy shit.
Yeah. It was just like the fans was on their feet, like.
Right. Like, I'm glad that they allowed them to have quote unquote breakout wrestling matches where
Yes.
it was totally different than what you see on NXT, even 205 to an extent. This is
Right.
more like cruiserweight classic version of a
It
wrestling
was.
match.
It did give me that kind of vibe and everything. They put on a great match, and I'm really excited to see what the rest of this tournament has to offer. Come going in the upcoming weeks. But this match was very a good way to kick off this tournament. And it's like now you gotta wait to see what the other guys are going to bring next week, the upcoming weeks.
We get a Kushida video package where he's talking about his transition from New Japan into WWE and his goals and his aspirations. And he's basically, questioning who his next challenger is going to be.
No question. Now, was Kushida was the one that came down in like the Back to the Future? It's like kind of car and
Yeah.
oh, okay. I like dude. This dude, I like dude. Dude is pretty darn good with this wrestling thing.
Yeah, him and Alex Shelley used to be the time splitters, and that
Oh,
was their
okay.
gimmick, the Back to the Future.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they actually had a DeLorean one year for Wrestle Kingdom.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Damian Priest does an interview after his match. He says that his name will live on forever, just like fame. The Street Profits, they take on the Forgotten Sons. The Street Profits get on the mic. Angelo Dawkins running his big mouth, turns it into a tag team title match. Montez Ford tags in Dawkins. Dawkins runs wild on the Forgotten Sons with suplexes and then corner splashes. The Spinebuster and Frog Splash get to 2 count, and that's when Jackson Riker attacks, and we get a disqualification. The Forgotten Sons continue the attack until Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch make the save. They grab the titles from the Forgotten Sons, and then they hand them back to the champions, but they tell the Street Profits that they owe them.
Yeah, I go definitely stand for Street Profits, but I like Birch and Orkin. I like them as well too as a tag. They are some hard hitting fellas in this wrestling industry. They like when in that ladder match at Takeover. Whew,
Yeah.
I thought they was going to win. Honestly, I thought I had them winning, but I was happy to see Street Profits win. I was like, okay, I'm good with that.
Somebody usually gets pretty well lumped up when they wrestle Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch.
Hey, Kyle O'Reilly's out. Kyle O'Reilly is out.
But this was a good first defense for the Street Profits. The crowd definitely in love with these guys. Like I said, good for Angelo Dawkins to finally get a chance to get some real shine on NXT.
Man.
And the sky's the limit for Montez Ford, man.
But he like I don't know, man. He's just like he got that like swag, like he could be down with New Day or something like that, but he's just on his doing his own thing. And Angelo Dawkins has really improved from his earlier days in NXT and everything. So, like you said, kudos to them. They went to Evolve and they won the tag titles, and they've been wrestling big matches there too. So it's like they they putting in work, and I'm proud to see they having they representing the culture well, very well.
Very well. Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah, they run down Mia Yim for being poor and having to overcome the tough odds that she did when she grew up. Aaliyah gets to face Mia Yim next week. Now it's time to bask in the glory of Keith Lee as he takes on Nikos Rikos. Rikos talks a little trash and he slaps Keith Lee. That was a mistake. Keith Lee fires back with some chops and pounce. Keith Lee then hits the ground zero, and Keith Lee gets the win.
Yeah, you never slap Keith Lee.
Man, I'll be glad when they get him in a program, man. It's cool to see him come out and beat up these little rinky-dink dudes and build up his wins. But, man, I was hyped for that Donovan Dijakovic shit.
Me too.
Then Keith Lee got hurt, and then they had to build up Dijakovic for a couple of weeks. And then when Keith Lee came back, Dijakovic got hurt. Like, shit. Like I said.
We see what the Djokovic could do. We did against Luke Harper in the Worlds Collide,
right?
And I was like, "Oh, this guy is money." And the injury bug said, "Hello, let me sit you down for a little bit." I'm like, "Come on, man!"
Had to break out my Fire Pro wrestling.
Yeah. He was telling you about that.
Yeah, to get my Keith Lee versus Donovan Dijakovic match.
Yeah, man.
Keith Lee was victorious twice, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They hyped the Adam Cole Championship Celebration Tour. So this was a cool picture, video. Adam Cole getting his Ric Flair on, private planes and parties and pretty women and suits and just the life of a champion.
Yeah.
The champion, rather. Main event time. Shayna Baszler versus Io Shirai. NXT Women's Title Steel Cage match. Very first Steel Cage match in NXT history between the women. Io Shirai hits the top of the cage moonsault press on Shayna Baszler. Io crawls to the door, but Shayna grabs her leg and follows with strikes, and then she starts to crawl. Io kicks her away. She starts to crawl again, but Shayna cuts her off again and chokes her out in the ropes. Io Shirai fights, but Shayna keeps choking her out until Io slams the cage door on the Baszler's head and face repeatedly. After she gets hit in the head with the cage about 3 or 4 times, Shayna is dazed and she falls forward out of the ring to win the match and retain the NXT Women's Title.
When you think you got something going and it hurts you in the end.
Yeah, the setup of this was good because it damn sure looked like when Io hit her in the head with that cage door about 3 times and she finally let that choke go, that Io was going to be able to just kind of, slide herself underneath the bottom rope and get out. But nope, Shayna fell forward and her head, your weight, your body follows your head, and her body followed her right out the ring. You're not a fan of this, I see.
No. I'm a fan of what happened afterwards.
Oh, yes.
I'm a fan of what happened afterwards. This is what caught me like this. I'm sitting here watching the match. I'm like, okay, the next thing you know,
the post match.
Yes.
Io Shirai snaps following her loss. She kicks the shit out of Candice LeRae, of all people, who came down to help when the Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir came out and tried to assist Shayna. Io looks upset and then she bails, only to grab a steel chair. She slays out Candace with chair shots, and then she does like a brainbuster kind of suplex onto Candace on the open seat of the chair. So she opens after she hit her across the back and in the gut about 3 or 4 times. Then she sat the chair down like it was supposed to be, like you would sit in it, and then she gave her that brainbuster or suplex onto the chair.
Oh man, I was like, oh, I'm just like, this is violence. I love it. I was like, oh, this is violent, and
And she was cursing out people in Japanese, and she was like, she don't need no friends. And so I think it has finally happened. She has gone to the dark side.
it was just, I I was like, damn, Candace, I hate it had to be you, but she, mm, I said, so I mean, this must go open up. So I mean, I'm wondering where this is going to lead to. Is it going to lead to a triple threat, or is this going to lead to somebody else coming to step up the challenge?
Mia is about to get the next shot.
Okay, all right.
They're building Mia for the title because Mia challenged her. Then Mia had that video package where she challenged her again, and she brought up the fact that she's fighting for all the girls in the locker room that's being bullied by Shayna. Then, I'm not scared of you. You know what I'm saying? So looks like Mia's going to get the next
Oh,
chance at
okay.
it.
Can't this is doing something to Candace and EO. This is going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah, that'd be a fun match.
It was like because when we said at Takeover, she was kind of hesitant to hand her the chair, and when she gave her the chair, she hit that moonsault backwards moonsault on to Shayna. I was like, oh, this might be the seeds, the plantings of a heel turn or something, and
Looks like we're here now.
yep.
They announced the lineup for next week where we have Mia Yim. She'll take on Aaliyah. Roderick Strong will take on Tyler Breeze. And in our NXT Breakout Tournament match, Cameron Grimes, aka Trevor Lee, will take on Isaiah Scott, aka Shane Swerve Strickland,
Oh, this is going to
or
be
aka Killshot.
shot. If you are a fan of Lucha Underground.
Right. These are my two favorite people I wanted to see in this whole tournament, and I'll be damned if they ain't facing each other in the first round.
Always give you the ones that you don't want to see in the early round. But
Right. This could have been like a semifinals match right here, man.
right.
I hadn't seen Swerve wrestling so long.
Right. And I'm like, this is gonna be good.
Yeah. I saw Trevor Lee wrestle live in the Indies here in North Carolina. So yeah, he's good. He's good money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, y'all gonna like him.
Okay. All right. Like I said, this tournament's definitely got my eyes open. So, a good reason to tune into NXT just to see these matches. But man, this is see with Triple H at the helm, we get builds, we get solid wrestling, we get all the things that you need. You get that whole, build up to to the championship match and everything. You get all of that. You don't get the whole, okay, here's your match. You get 8 to 10 minutes, and then a screw finish or something like that. You build up the anticipation, then a screw finish or a easy roll up loss or something like that. I don't know, but like I said, Triple H, he's doing the damn thing down here. So like every week, NXT is just on point. Are you still there?